Now, dear viewer, Experience will be back, and you'll find out why this talks to me a little later on as well, and why I have two very lovely ladies and a very lovely gentleman sitting here. We are talking about solo sex tonight, but we thought right in this, no programme would be complete on the subject without Mr. Alan Sivride. He's here tonight to do the entire opera La Traviata in around about 3 minutes. So please welcome High Culture, Mr. Alan Sivride. Yes!
La Traviata is one of the world's favourite operas. Set in Paris, it tells the story of the Lady of the Camellias, Violetta, as she was known to by her friends. She's giving a grand party. She's very young, she's very beautiful, but she is a kept woman by a rich man, and she's suffering from tuberculosis. In the first act, she meets Alfred, and it is very clear that he's been in love with her for weeks and months. By the end of Act 1, she too has fallen in love with him, but she feels deeply lonely. She knows that she's basically an abandoned woman in Paris, and that people and men only want her because she is amusing and beautiful. She and Alfred run away to the country together and are living idyllically for a summer. But one afternoon, when Alfred finds out how much money that she has actually been spending through her maid, he rushes back to Paris because he feels that he must do something about it. An elderly man arrives on the scene and at first attacks Violetta and says, "How dare you live with my son who is keeping you?" Well, you see all the dignity in the young and beautiful girl when she points out that it isn't true. It is not true, but that for the first time in her life, she has known and has felt love. He doesn't really believe her for some time, and he explains that he's come to ask her to give Alfred up because his daughter cannot get married due to the fact that this is a great public scandal hanging over the family. Violetta says that she does not have long to live. Again, he hardly believes her, until she says, "But embrace me as a daughter. However, I give my promise, but you will not tell Alfred until I am dead." He said, "You'll live many years." Well, Alfred comes back. She weeps and tells him to stay there, but always to remember her amongst the flowers. She leaves him. His father arrives, and there is a note saying that "I've left you, Alfred." Alfredo, as he's called in Italian. Well, the young man is furious. He realizes that she's gone to a party in Paris of a friend of hers, a gambling party. He follows her there and publicly insults her. In front of all her friends, he says to her, "So you love the Baron, do you? Right." Well, of course, she does it because she's trying to save him. He insults her by throwing money all over and saying, "This is the woman who's kept me for a summer and I'm repaying her." The last act, she is dying. And eventually he's been told the truth. He finds out, he comes back, but of course it is too late. She cries out, "Oh dear God, I'm too young to die." But then she says to him calmly, "One day you will marry, but remember me and tell the girl who's pure about me." At that moment she says, "I'm reborn. Ridashi, I'm reborn." Suddenly she feels as if she's alive. Of course, it is well known that in this terrible illness, at the moment before death, as she rises up and collapses, Alfred is heartbroken, and the Lady of the Camellias has gone forever.
Wasn't that beautiful?
It's a great story, James.
That was beautiful, Alan. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has anybody got man-sized tissue?
There's always one. Never mind, Alan, that was lovely. In the words of Oscar Wilde...
Yes, because you're doing this programme, always remember that Oscar Wilde once said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance."
So true.
Good night,
so
James.
True. Thank you very much indeed. Yay! I was would you please welcome now Lindsay Drew. Lindsay, of course, we saw the other day with the photograph. That's Lindsay and me. Lindsay getting her leg over. And Maxine Page is here. Maxine is the editor of New Talent, which is nothing to be proud of, I don't think. And Richard, one of the Dreamboys, is here. Now, all three of you, Lindsay now and Richard, and you in your time before you became editor, because you don't take your clothes off now, do you?
That's right.
Lindsay, you still do?
Yes.
Occasionally, not often
yes,
now.
occasionally.
And Richard, you're just beginning.
Yes, just beginning.
Yeah, so all three have agreed to come and talk about self-sex, solo sex, whichever way you like to look at it. First of all, Lindsay, I mean, a lot of what you've done, I mean, people watch the sort of things you've done and read the magazines that you've done purely to help with solo sex, don't they?
Yes, I mean, people watch my videos or they look at the magazines that I edit and masturbate. Yes, I mean, it's their dicks, and if they want to play with them and look at pictures of me, that's fine by me, actually.
That doesn't sort of, what do you mind,
No.
you'll go out?
I mean, I look at videos and masturbate, so, you know, I mean, it's pleasure, and it's something that we all can have, and I think we all should have.
You haven't had any of these nasty sort of things that people are told, particularly girls are told, aren't they, at a young age, that if they did that?
Oh,
sort of...
don't touch it, you know,
Yes.
and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. No, not really, no. I mean, I don't discuss masturbation with my mother particularly, but
nor should you.
It's something she's never told me not to do or anything like that.
Yeah, and you feel healthy about that, yeah.
I mean, the nice thing with women, when they masturbate, I mean, we can carry on masturbating. We can come 3 or 4 times. Usually, with a man, they masturbate, I would imagine, and come, and then that's the end of it, you know.
Richard, it is, isn't it? It's it.
Well,
For some people.
Yeah, yeah. Do you mind women looking at you purely as an aid to masturbation, a sex object, that reading some of these magazines with men? Do you mind that? I mean, do you know that that's why some people buy those magazines and come to see those shows that you do?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I suppose everyone has their fantasies, and some watch movies or go to see shows. I'm sure they do.
You're not embarrassed?
Not at all.
Now, of course, Maxine, I mean, you are now an editor of this it's taken readers' wives to a new dimension, hasn't it, really?
Not really, no, because they're all young models, they're all starting out. We had one recently who went on to become the cover girl on Penthouse magazine, a young nurse. She had a lot of PR regarding that, it was in The Sun and all the other newspapers. And basically it's a way for young models to start out and go on from there to other things.
Possibly, but I mean, a lot of these women have got bruises on them. I've had I mean, it's, you know, it's
I haven't
not
looked
nice.
that closely, actually,
Have
Jane.
you not? And
You
they've got
obviously have studied this at length.
Yeah, well, they've got rough elbows. I won't show any pictures here. And things like, you know, it's not nice to see rough elbows, is it? And stuff like that. Do you mind that this is basically, I mean, these sort of magazines sell so that we can indulge more pleasurably in solo sex?
I think that's great. I think that's a really, really healthy thing to do, and everyone should enjoy sex, and why not?
You don't think that people, if they thought about it more seriously, some of the girls who appear in these magazines wouldn't do it? They'd think, oh no, I'm not having anything to do with
They're
that.
getting paid for it, they enjoy doing what they're doing, they're being published, they enjoy their work. I know when I used to do that type of modelling, I actually enjoyed doing it, I got paid good money for it, and I enjoyed it, I wasn't being exploited.
When I first worked for a men's magazine, I remember back the 5th letter I ever got. I sat there
You used to do the letters page, didn't you?
Yes, I do a letters page in Eros magazine.
Yeah.
I sat there reading back my 6th letter I ever read, and the guy got to page 3, and suddenly I realised, he said, no, all of a sudden, and then I realised why page 3 and 4 wouldn't come apart, you know. And that shocked me a little bit then, but, you know, it's life, it's fun, who cares,
It shocked you, Lindsay. I don't believe
It
a
shocked me a
word.
little
It
bit. We are going back 10 years, I know. I
Are
was
we?
shocked then, yes.
What, I mean, do you get to, I don't know, I mean, masturbation presumably is the one form of sex you can indulge in or on?
And in the audience, people were doing it just now, actually. The bishop in particular.
I hope not.
He was getting very excited.
Talking about... anyway, no. Please, I don't want any more of that smiling either. For goodness sake, control yourself. Do you think that something, perhaps, then there should be more? I mean, do you think that these sort of magazines you don't see... We have this discussion from time to time, that maybe this is degrading to the people who do it. I mean, Richard, I was looking through a magazine here with pictures of, not you in it particularly, but guys, no clothes on, in these sort of cheesecake poses and things like that. And you're thinking, well, OK, if I find the body, maybe I'd do it. And then you think, well... You know, what if your mum sees it?
Well, it depends how she feels, you know. She might look at an art form or a form of modelling, you know. Depends on how the pictures are taken. If it's done like in a sleazy kind of way, or it could be taken in an art form.
You mean it can be done in a non-sleazy type of way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I don't think
I was
sex has
winding
to
you
be
up.
sleazy,
No,
does
yeah.
it? I mean, when I was last time I did Penthouse, you know, I was on the cover of Penthouse, and I said to Mum, best not to look at the pictures, you know. And she went in the newsagent, had a little look at them because they were very nice, and they were
Yeah.
But I didn't want her to buy it and take it home and look at it again, particularly, you know. But I mean, she looked at them, I thought they were, You know, it's just...
How long will you go on doing this, Richard? I mean, will you sort of give up? I was talking to one guy from one of these groups that came on once. He said, yes, well, he said, I've got a degree in banking as well, he said, and I should be going back to that when my body begins to drop a little bit.
Well, I'm hoping that because you've got a lot of opportunities to do modelling and other TV work, so maybe I'll branch out in a few years. And
I mean, who knows? You could end up as the next Arnold Schwarzenegger.
well, you never know.
Couldn't
Maybe.
you?
Or even take your place.
You could even take my place. Unlikely. But anyway, you could try. Lindsay, do you think will you get to a certain because Maxine has given
age
up?
when I'll
I mean,
stop
will you
taking my
get
clothes
already?
off.
And,
I don't do it very often. I mean, I don't take my clothes off very often. People keep asking me to, and I think, oh God, I'm 36 now. I'm not taking them off anymore. People
you were
still want me
36
to.
a few years ago.
No, I'm not. I'm 36.
Lindsay get offered more money than me.
No, but people still want me to. I don't know why. But then why do people stop being sensual? Why do people stop when they get to, the 30-something? Why should they stop? I mean, if we don't stop having sex in our 30s, you know.
Yeah.
All right, then. You told me not to.
Lindsay, just keep them. Lindsay.
Sorry.
Okay, if it makes you feel better. I actually have to just show you this before we move on. I beg your pardon. Oh, good. This.
You recorded that. It's your voiceover in there.
Well, listen, if you haven't got the body for it, you might as well do it if you've got the voice for it. I beg your pardon, Michael? I've just got 30 seconds to get through it. I've almost finished. I'll just show you this. This is a very interesting... It's like a telephone. And
Oh, God.
yes, and I mean, there's
We'll do the female version. Oh, yeah, James. Oh, do it to me.
James,
I love it. Just that. That's the way.
Cut.
Show it in.
Those are those funny phone calls that have been coming from the palace. Thank you very much indeed. Lindsay, Drew, Maxine, Paige and Richard. Thank you. Now, welcome tonight's Experience. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. We will be back next week with an entirely new topic, but I think we should leave them with the rest of Experience tonight. So if we cut back to that, join us again. Thank you very much indeed. What did you say? I don't want to know. I don't want to go around there and dance with them because, you know...
You look great, James.
What? No, this is a better shot. This is a much better shot. What? It reminds me of somebody we know, isn't it? And that, Michael, you can't talk to me this time because I really don't know what we're doing. I mean, he wants me to have the camera, and I can't take the camera with me. I mean, it's the end of the. Hang on. That's what.